Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be doing a quarterback review for week one of the NFC North. Planning on doing a lot of these. Got to wait until all the games are wrapped up. But the NFC North officially got all their games done out of the way for week one. And I'm a Packers fan, so I'm going to start with the conference that's got my favorite team in it. So to start off, in the NFC, the Packers played the Vikings and the Lions played the Bears. So just all playing against each other. And we saw a lot, quite a lot, especially from the quarterbacks, a ton. So let's start with the Packers and the Vikings. This was a very high scoring game. Like we said, I don't remember the final score exactly. It was 40 something to 30 something, insanely high scoring game. So let's start off with Aaron Rodgers and how his week one game went. So he started off 32 for 44, 72%, 364 yards. Very solid outing. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So Aaron Rodgers doing Aaron Rodgers things. But here are the things that I saw that were different from prior seasons is the Packers were spreading the ball out. Aaron was getting it out to literally everyone on the field. One of my concerns was that he was going to throw a lot to Davante Adams. He was getting it to everybody. Obviously, Davante Adams played amazing, was torching the Minnesota secondary, but Aaron Rodgers didn't just rely on him. He passed the ball around. It was really nice. One of the things I noticed, a lot of checkdowns, passes. But luckily, they were checkdown passes for gains. So instead of losses, which previously under the Mike McCarthy era, you saw a lot of screen passes or checkdowns that just would never go for a ton of yards. So it's good to see that they finally got that going for them. So offensively, the Packers, they look way better than last season. So that's really good for them. But that doesn't mean Kirk Cousins had a bad game either. He played pretty well. He only threw 1 pick. He had the highest percentage out of all 4 quarterbacks in the NFC North, throwing for 76% of his passes, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns. So here's what I saw from Kirk Cousins is it was kind of just regular old Kirk. Nothing too different from last season. Obviously, you can tell that they're lacking in the weapons department, and I think that's where Kirk Cousins really struggled is having guys open, having guys that can really step up and make big plays. And I think that's why they struggled at times to get the ball down the field in this one. So that was pretty solid for that game. Both of those quarterbacks, I think, played really well. I think just the fact that Kirk Cousins didn't have weapons, Aaron Rodgers was able to spread the ball around was really a huge difference maker. Not a lot of defense on either side, which was a little concerning, but we'll talk about that another time. So let's go to game number 2, which had the Bears and the Lions. Now, the Bears would end up squeezing out a victory, but this is a game that I do believe the Lions should have won. That last second drop in the end zone, it's got to be tough. But something that I do have to admit, Mitch Trubisky played pretty well in this game, made a lot of key plays. I'm not going to lie, though, his wide receivers made him look good. They made some big plays, busted some huge runs after the catch. A very solid outing. So he was 20 for 36, had the worst percentage, though, at 55.6. He threw for the least amount of yards as well, 242, and had 3 touchdowns. So what really surprised me about Mitchell Trubisky in this game was, I'm not going to say he looked more confident, but he looked more composed. He was able to make some throws under pressure, which, he's really struggled with in prior seasons, especially with the Bears' lackluster offensive line. I wouldn't say he looked more confident, though. There was a lot of bad plays, a lot of incompletions for him. But honestly, the fact that he you know, was able to avoid making a lot of big mistakes. There was a lot of missed plays, just garbage plays, but he didn't really throw them away. He didn't throw too much into pressure, which was really good. Um, so a pretty solid game for him. But now we go to Matthew Stafford. Now Matthew Stafford actually got a ton of big plays, just huge, massive plays to his receivers. Um, he, as far as percentage wise, he sits right around where Mitchell Trubisky was with 57.14. But he came in second in yards, which was, like I said, just huge plays down the field. Where they really, really struggled, though, was in the end zone. Just couldn't get it going by Matthew Stafford's arm. A lot of obviously that drop late in. So I don't think it's entirely Matthew Stafford's fault that they lost this game. But he really did struggle in the red zone. Um, overall, though, still a pretty solid game from him. Um, in my opinion, I think just one, struggling in the red zone, and two, just not really being able to um, slow down Mitchell Trubisky because he had 3 touchdowns too. So I think because the Lions actually led for most of the first half, it was in the second half where the Bears just slowly crawled their way back into this game and won it. So, um, like I said, how do I feel like the season's going to go for them? Aaron Rodgers, I think he's going to continue to do Aaron Rodgers things, just try to make plays work. I think the offensive system they got with Matt LaFleur, really good. Minnesota, I think this was just a game that they were just getting outscored. I don't think offensively they were horrible. They obviously lacked a little bit of firepower so they could keep up with Green Bay, but I think overall they're still going to have a pretty good season. Um, the Bears, I'd be a little nervous. That first half was not very good, but I think you're seeing improvement in Mitchell Trubisky, and I think this game showed why he's starting, which is pretty solid. And then um, Matthew Stafford, it was just a tough game. I think this was a game that he had, very tough game to lose. So that will be it for the NFC North.